Well, good morning. Thank you for being here. 8 days ago, I announced that the city of Fresno was issuing a shelter or stay in place order calling for everyone to stay home, keep a 6-foot distance from everyone except their immediate family and people they live with in their homes. We're trying to flatten the curve and not let the coronavirus devastate our community like it's done around the world and is now doing in New York City. And I'm proud to say that everything I've seen and heard tells me that almost everyone in Fresno is taking this seriously and taking the necessary precautions to protect their own health, the health of their family and friends, and the health of our entire community. Our order is set to expire on March 31st, and I sincerely hope we'd be able to let it expire. Unfortunately, my team and I have come to the conclusion that this order needs to be extended through Sunday, April 12th, and the city manager has signed the order earlier this morning. If things change between now and then, we will change our order, but all indications are we have yet to see the worst of this pandemic. And I know how difficult this is for everyone. My wife Trish and I have changed our lifestyle because it's the right thing to do. And the better job that we do now in containing the spread of the coronavirus, the faster we can recover and the faster we can return to our normal lives. The decisions I've had to make regarding the coronavirus have been the most difficult I've ever made. I have debated all sides of this argument, and it boils down to what is the most important, and that is to protect the lives of as many people as possible. And I fully understand the economic impact these orders have on many people in our community. And my hope, my prayer, is to get people back to work, back to school, and back to a normal life as soon as we safely can. Thank you, and with that, I'll take any questions.
Mayor, the April 12th obviously is Easter. If churches are open during Easter, would persons be able to attend?
At this point in time, it's closed, and most churches have adopted, their communication is up, not sideways. And they've taken technology to preach to their members and keep in touch. Most churches are doing voluntary community work. And this is based on the best available knowledge we have now and what goes on around us. And this is very fluid. It changes from day to day. And we'll do the best I can to keep our city in the forefront.
Why the 12th? Why not?
It's based on all available information we have, working with our sister cities across the state of California, working with the governor's office. And again, it can change. As I said, if something changes nationally or locally, we can change too. And it may change better or change worse. We're trying to make life as normal as possible for people and also trying to keep Fresno safe. I think what you're seeing so far, that cities like New York that have good programs of people volunteering to stay in home are being successful in containing the virus. And that's our main challenge.
Mayor, as April 1st nears, a lot of people are concerned about rent payments that are due. Is there anything you're doing? I know you come from the rental market in asking apartment complexes or home owners to have a grace period on these tenants who obviously cannot return to work for quite some time?
Yeah, the city council passed a moratorium on both residential and commercial eviction. So it goes at 30 days at a time, but they're allowed to not pay the rent or pay partial. They can negotiate with the landlord. They have to prove that it's the coronavirus in one way or another. It also applies to commercial tenants. There's a lot of small businesses, restaurants, and so on. They're going to be under the same kind of pressure. And the governor yesterday did an executive order that he's also looking at the people who own houses. It's not just people who are landlords, it's people that own their house. They're out of work. They can't make the mortgage, so they're given a 90-day stay. They've negotiated with all the state-chartered lenders and I believe the big four national lenders. So everybody's doing the best they can, given the circumstances. But I said before, nobody's going to be evicted because of the corona crisis.
What about late fees? Are you monitoring those?
Well, I know at the state level on what the governor's office has done, I believe they have waived the late fees and so on. I'm not positive on, go ahead, Mark.
I'll step in. Mark Standriff, Director of Communications, City of Fresno. Council actually voted yesterday to make sure that there are no late fees, penalties, or interest that's going to be charged for those individuals that have rent due and cannot pay because of COVID-19 circumstances.
Thank you, Mark.
Just speaking to the businesses and obviously like the essential versus the non-essential and the impact that this will have on the Fresno economy going forward, can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, we all know the tremendous impact this has. There's been thousands and thousands of people filing for unemployment across the state, across the nation. The package that I believe was finally agreed upon and packaged and passed by Congress and the Senate addresses a lot of those issues in terms of relief for small businesses, relief for employees, extended unemployment benefits, and so on, and one-time payments. I think what the goal is to keep the period as short as possible and keep people with money in their pocket and in their homes to live life as best as possible until we get past this. And I'm confident if we stay calm and stay focused and stay in home and place, we're going to get there sooner than later. And my goal again is to get us back to normal as soon as we possibly can in a safe way.
We know that 3 million across the United States unemployed right now. Do we know how many in the city of Fresno that are now unemployed?
I'm aware of no statistics but I would assume that it's a much higher. There's probably by the thousands of people affected by this. We know the restaurant industry, hotel industry, and certain ones have been really impacted.
Mr. Mayor, first, thanks for inviting us to your house.
You're welcome.
And with the federal bailout bill that was passed yesterday, or still being passed in Washington, do you know if there's anything Fresno specific that's in that bill?
Well, there's provisions for direct aid to cities, and I think the criteria is 500,000 or more, which we qualify for. So we're not certain exactly how it's going to come down. At least 3 or 4 times a week, we have evening phone conferences with the big city mayors in California. So I get to learn what best practices are in other cities, and other cities are having basically the same experience we're having. We're all gearing up towards, having the capacity. If a surge comes in the next few weeks, we have the capacity in terms of medical staffing, equipment, and of course hospital beds to meet that challenge. And that's the key, is to keep our curve flat and to have the services concurrent with that level of service.
Anything else?
What are you guys doing in terms of, I know that statewide and federally to help out citizens, are you guys looking at any money that you can shift around from the city that you could give to citizens, especially with this extension?
We're doing everything we can. As I mentioned earlier, we're not going to turn anybody's water off. You're not going to get your trash shut off. We're holding back, extending the period on business license fees. This is something that's primarily going to be the federal government, and the state will do what we can on the city of Fresno. But as this goes forward, it'll have demands and challenges to our own budget that we have to look forward in a few months to take out and maintain our services best we can. But we just don't have what we have. I know there's a couple of councilmen considering a small business deal. That's great, whatever we can do, but it's going to take a combination of what we do locally, what's going on at the state level, and most importantly, the federal level, to provide relief to those people affected the most.
Do you expect neighboring cities or different counties to also kind of follow suit and extend?
Well, based on the governor's order last week as far as like to stay in place, now we have Clovis, Fresno County, all the cities in the Fresno County all working together with the same standards. And we've had from day one, our city manager and her team have been meeting for at least 3 or 4 weeks with the county officials, the health department, and also the other cities like Clovis and so on. So the better we work together, the better we're going to be. And also we're working with the big cities across the state.
There's been a lot of discussion about whether or not the shelter-in-place around the state is actually working. Do you think that the shelter-in-place is working to flatten the curve, or what are you hearing from
I think by what's going on internationally, what's going on in New York City and other cities affected, I believe it's clearly demonstrated that it works. I'm talking to my fellow mayors in Long Beach and Los Angeles, San Francisco, all around the state. They're seeing mostly a very good response from our citizens, because primarily it's got to be done on people voluntarily doing this stuff. We don't have the resources to, enforce it at this point in time. But you can see by getting people to voluntarily, do the stay at home. We won't have to reach such drastic measures as some of the ones they're doing in Europe right now, where they really have locking people down. We don't want to have that. We want to have people comply. We want to have people live normal lives as soon as possible and have the least disruption as we can.
So it sounds like it was a combination of factors that led you to the decision to extend this.
There are so many issues out there, and this is so fluid. It goes day to day, and I think I'm missing Mark on as far as our response.
Well, you mentioned the Fresno County numbers and what.
Oh yeah, well, Fresno. Yeah, this is the other thing that's ongoing debate, and working with Fresno County, is in the last week there's been a real spike from a couple cases to I believe to 19 cases. I know Dave Palmaville, the county health director, is concerned that Fresno could be an epicenter for this epidemic. And we need to do everything we can, working with, again, also with the medical community, which we have been, the county and the city and the state, to make sure that we contain it as much as possible. What you're going to see in the coming days, in the coming weeks, is probably an escalation, unfortunately. And the more we do now to flatten the curve, the better we're going to do down the road, and the shorter this duration is going to, this event's going to have on people's lives.
We can take one more. If not, thank you very much, folks.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, and thanks for coming out.